Many would agree that 7 times tables is the hardest one to learn, and it's often left until last. One of the reasons it's the most difficult is that there doesn't seem to be a pattern, as there is for most of the other numbers up to the 12 times tables. There is one little trick that you can use though. Some people call this snakes and ladders. We start with the digits 0 to 6. And we're going to put a loop around 3 of those numbers, and sometimes that loop is known as a snake. Now we're going to put a loop around another 3 numbers, starting with the last number in the previous loop. So starting with the 2, we're going to put a loop around 2, 3 and 4. And for the next 3, we start with 4 and we put a loop around 4, 5 and 6. Then we draw a grid similar to a noughts and crosses grid, and we're going to take the first loop and put it into the top row of the grid so that the digits are to the left of the grid as you look at it. You'll notice that we have a 2 in the grid and a 2 in the next loop, because remember they were overlapping. There was a 2 in each of those loops, or the snakes if that's what you'd like to call them. So we bring down the next snake and we have 0, 1, 2 in the top row, 2, 3, 4 in the middle row, and then the final row again we have another 4, 4, 5, 6. Just make that a bit bigger so you can see it better. Now we're going to bring in the ladders. The first is 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. With the top 3 numbers 1, 2, 3, we're going to move those digits into the grid in the right hand column on the right hand side. We've made the numbers 21, 42 and 63. The next 3 numbers 4, 5 and 6, we're going to do the same with those but put them into the middle column. So we have the numbers 14, 35 and 56. And with the final 3 numbers 7, 8 and 9, now we have the numbers 7, 28 and 49. These are the first 9 numbers in the 7 times tables. 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is 28, 7 times 5 is 35, 7 times 6 is 42, 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 8 is 56, and 7 times 9 is 63. Of course, this goes up to 7 times 9. We still have 3 more that your child has to learn. 7 times 10. Most children, by the time they're learning their 7 times tables, will be so confident with their 10 times tables that they'll know straight away 7 times 10 is 70. The same with the 11 times tables. 7 times 11 is 77. The only other one really that they'll need to try to remember is that 7 times 12 is 84. Now I know some people are going to look at this and think, surely it's easier and quicker just to learn your 7 times tables than to try and remember all this messing around with numbers. But for many people, manipulating numbers and playing around is a better way for them to retain information. If this is something you think might help your child, there's a couple of ways you can do this. One way, you could use tracing paper, so 1 sheet of tracing paper with the 9 grids, as with the ones we had in the loops, on the left-hand side of each space of the grid, and then another piece of tracing paper with the numbers on the right side in a different colour, so that they match up. And you could get your child to work out which number's going to go in the ones, which would be the ladder numbers, if you like, before giving them the next sheet and getting them to put it over the top to see how well they did.